So this is the thing, right? Peace is important, you know, but so is going to war. And that's something that I had to really, I've always knew, but it's just more so me trying to make sure I choose my battles wisely, time and place for everything. And I'm very patient, and people that know me know that I like to choose peace for the most part. But with some individuals, in some situations, that doesn't always work. So with that being said, like I said, yes, peace is great, but so is going to war. Peace, going to war is great, and I say that. And I just had a conversation with somebody. I had within the last month. I've said this, and then I had somebody say this to me, and it was like, because the question they had asked me is like, if you had 3 wishes, my first one was to end all suffering and to bring world peace. And then they said, well, sometimes you gotta go to war to get that peace. And I said, yeah, that's so true. I had already said that. Like before that conversation, I had already said that. So it was like, oh yeah, that's true. And it made me feel okay if I do have to go to war. And some people understand. If you look at the way that the world is today, the world is not in a good space right now. And a lot of people will say, oh my God, the world is going to end or it's going downhill. But the sunshine always comes after the storm. And I didn't really feel like that. So yeah, you know, they're going to do what they do in the government and the politics and the world or whatever. They're going to do what they do. But they're going to do what they do, and then some beautiful times will come after that. The sun will shine again. The sun will shine again. We're not going to stay in this forever because nothing ever stays in a bad space forever. Nothing ever. Now, the time, how long it's going to take, I can't tell you that. And I don't really care to. I just know in my heart of heart that it won't stay like that. Like I said, sometimes you got to go to war to get the peace. Sometimes you got to go to war to get the peace. And you don't want nobody to trick you out your position. There's a time and a place for everything. You want to figure out, does this situation call for peace or does this call for some war? You know? So, peace is good. And this is just something that I remind myself. Like, Bashar, you like to be peaceful. And people be telling me, Bashar, stop being so nice. I'm not nice. I've been taught how to be polite. I've been taught great manners. You know, I've been taught some very essential things that I realize some people just don't have. And they think that I'm being nice because I present myself a certain way. Please, don't ever get it twisted. I don't want you to get it twisted. I honestly don't. I don't want to go there with nobody. I don't want to be in nasty energy with people. But sometimes that's just what it calls for. Because that's just what it calls for. And it's not my fault. I have to do what I have to do sometimes. And like I said, that's just a reminder. So I want to remind you, if you're anything like me, be okay with knowing. It's a time and a place. Choose your battles wisely. But if you have to choose that to go to war, to battle, don't feel bad about it anymore. Just don't. And I don't. Just do what you have to do.